Hi, this is Alison, Little Miss Grosser, back with another video for you. I've just been talking to my friend Dan about stand-up comedy. So I thought I would share with you specifically my stand-up collection, tell you a little bit about it, tell you a little bit about why I've got it, and just give you a little more insight into the sort of things that I like to watch. The one DVD that I have in my collection is Bill Hicks' Sane Man, which I believe is from 1989, but I didn't see it until after he passed away. I'd seen his two other shows before he passed away that I own, but that one is from long before I was allowed to watch him. So yeah, I'll tell you what it says. It says, the amazing comedian... I'll try that again. The amazing comedian Bill Hicks passed away in 1994, but his legend continues to grow. Sane Man was filmed before Bill recorded Dangerous, his first comedy album, and is a turning point in Hicks' career. It was the first complete Hicks show ever filmed, and Bill pulled out all the stops for the cameras. Completely focused, a newly sober Hicks paces the stage like a wild animal, riffing effortlessly on a variety of his favourite topics, including sex, drugs, rock and roll, religion, government, and of course, smoking. Yeah, he was a very heavy smoker. Well, for quite a lot of his adult life, I think. But yeah, that's Sane Man. Now we're going on to the VHSs. Oh, zoomed in on my face then, sorry. These are no particular order of preference, it's just how I've got them stacked next to me. And first up we have got Mark Lamarr, Uncensored and Live. Unfortunately, Mark Lamarr is now, well, virtually non-existent in the world of TV. But I did used to love him on The Word, loved Nevermind the Buzzcocks, and I loved him on Shooting Stars. This is what the back says. The hugely successful start of BBC Two's Shooting Stars and Nevermind the Buzzcocks comes to home video for the first time ever in a hilarious stand-up comedy show. Mark Lamarr began his career as a stand-up at the Comedy Store in 1985, and since then has toured the UK developing his own brand of hard-hitting humour. Recorded live at the Wild Theatre in Bracknell, this outrageous show is filled with anecdotes, comments on life, and brilliant audience interaction. The trademarks of Mark's infamous stage shows, this is Mark Lamarr live and uncensored. I will say that although the 90s aren't that long ago, really, I would urge a bit of caution for some viewers, because you might find 90s humour unacceptable or problematic, shall we say. But if you don't have a problem, then you should be fine if you're around my age or older. Anyway, just sort of throw that out there. Next one up is, oh, my face again, sorry. Robert Newman, formerly known as Rob Newman of Newman and Baddiel, on the Dependence Day video. I saw this show live at Hull City Hall when I was 14. I had just turned 14, and that was one of the most difficult points in my life. So it was really good to see him. I still go back to these tapes for catharsis if I'm feeling a bit down, and this is one of my favourites. And it's there's nothing to read out on the back, just a picture of Rob or Robert as Jarvis, one of my favourite comedy characters. But again, some people might find that problematic these days. Not judging, just warning you. Then we've got Newman and Baddiel Live and in Pieces, which is when they were the first comedians to sell out Wembley Arena. I saw the tour in Sheffield in December 1993, and it was absolutely amazing. Maybe a bit young to be watching it, but who cares really? It didn't do me any harm. Next up, I wish I could stop zooming in on my face. I do apologise. We've got Bill Hicks, Relentless. Now, I saw that on Channel 4 when I was about 12, and there is no way I should have been watching it really. But my parents were of the opinion that I'm going to hear these words anyway, and if they keep trying to shield me from it, I'll go seek it out anyway, which was true, especially with the more sort of adult side of comedy. The only things my parents really didn't like me watching was proper horror films. And when I say proper, I mean like anything sort of like really disturbing. I was allowed to watch Hammer once I was an older kid, but anything like Wes Craven or John Carpenter, big no-no. But anyway, I digress. This is what he said. Bill Hicks emerges on stage through a billowing cloud of smoke. As the dark brooding figure approaches the mic, there is an air of anticipation tinged with tension emanating from the audience. His reputation precedes him. A hard-hitting, cynical and abrasive comedian who shocks his audience while subtly reminding them of how ridiculous the more serious issues are taken today. Nothing escapes this treatment. George Bush, sex, war, drugs, pornography, morality, hypocrisy and religion. On Christians who wear crosses around their neck, he questions, do you really think when Jesus comes back, he'll want to see another cross? There is a devilish aura about him as he informs the audience, I've got some bad news for non-smokers. Non-smokers die every day. I can't tell it like him. After all, he's not a heavy smoker anymore. Open quotes, I only get through 2 lighters a day. Close quotes. The material on this video was recorded during the season of Bill Hicks at the Centaur Theatre during the annual Just for Laughs Comedy Festival held at Montreal, Canada in July 1991. So that one. And another one we've got. Totally Bill Hicks. This was recorded in early 94, just before he unfortunately passed away at the age of 32. Yeah, really, really sad. I remember finding out about it and being just, well, devastated, I suppose. But anyway, I digress again. This is what it says. The death of outspoken comedian Bill Hicks in early 94 tragically foreshortened a career in which Hicks had proved himself as one of the most distinctive voices in comedy. In the comedy world, and was in fact heralded as the Lenny Bruce of his generation. The Prince of Darkness was a sex, drugs and rock and roll comedian. He could be loud and he could be outrageous, but on stage he also exposed a creative imagination and a vision of the world which sometimes took him closer to the role of prophet rather than comic. Winner of the Edinburgh Festival Critics Award in 1991, Bill was driven by a distinctive passion in his work, a comedy built and conviction that set him apart from other stand-ups. So there's that one. Next up, we have someone that I think that everybody knows and most people love. Billy Connolly, 25 BC. I bought this a few months ago and I saw it years ago and I haven't seen it since, so I'm going to have to pop this in the player at some point and give it a watch. This is what it says. Life before Billy is unthinkable. For the last 25 years, Billy has been one of the world's most popular comedians. Now his best work, including 70 minutes of previously unreleased footage, is available on one programme. Unforgettable performances from Parkinson, Not the 9 O'Clock News, Comic Relief, The Late Clive James, Joan Rivers and Saturday Night Clive. And that is also from the 90s, yeah. Sorry. Then we've got someone who seems to have had a personality transplant in the last 20 years. He's I don't really know what to make of him anymore. But here is Lee Hurst live. I loved him on They Think It's All Over. I thought that was absolutely brilliant, and he was very funny. I don't know so much about now. I hear differing things, but this is what it says on the back. Following his sellout national tour, Lee Hurst Live features the man fans know as the funniest one out of They Think It's All Over, keeping a packed audience in stitches for an evening of brilliant stand-up comedy at Her Majesty's Theatre, London. Join Lee as he takes a look at everything from the fighting techniques of football hooligans to how he got away with calling his nana a bleep, 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 it's bleeped out. As the only comedian who actually invites the audience to throw questions at him during the show, he also blows the cover on the bits of They Think It's All Over that didn't go to plan, including a hilariously embarrassing round of Phil the Sportsman. Just trying to see what year. Guys, going back to 1997. God, it seems like forever ago. I know it said it wasn't that long ago, but it feels it. This is another one that I had as a teenager and haven't seen it since, and I really, really need to watch it again. It is Mark Little live. Yes, everybody, Joe Mangle from Neighbours is a stand-up. I almost got to see him about 12 or 13 years ago, but unfortunately the show got cancelled. I was a little bit gutted because I've always wanted to see him live, but I've just been unable to. But this is what it says. A low-tech, fun noir, virtual comedy, multimedia extravaganza set against a backdrop of arts duvet. This is actual reality. The world's weirdest beach, Damien Hirst's duvet, Neighbours, drugs, Mr. Blobby, the People's Revolution, Quentin Cappuccino, and easy listening gunplay, all embroidered in an unexpected theatrical assault of sense and style. Aligns itself with the art duvet movement, whose aim is to intrigue, baffle, bewilder, confront, and amuse the watcher. A rallying call to optimism and action. Don't be a suck, be an art tosser, viva the moment. So that's that one. Next up, now, I know I keep warning people about 90s comedy, but this really might be problematic for people of a certain way of thinking, but I still find it funny. And it's Frank Skinner live at the Apollo. Apparently, and I don't know if this is true, he has actually come out recently as saying he wishes he hadn't said some of the things that he said in the 90s. As I say, don't know how true that is, but I mean, that's personal reflection, and I'm digressing again. I'll read the back for you. Filmed at London's Apollo Theatre on September the 4th, 1994. Frank Skinner performs previously unrecorded, uncensored stand-up comedy material that could never be shown on TV. I think that tells you all you need to know, really. And then next up, we've got Frank Skinner again when he was really young. And it says, Frank Skinner made his television debut in 1988. After 5 minutes of stand-up, which had the studio audience in fits, the station received 131 calls from outraged viewers, including a cabinet minister and the head of a major airline. Sorry. Frank never looked back. Here he is, live and uncensored, performing the act that won him the 1991 Perrier Award for Comedy. So that's another thing I wanted to touch on this video. I was a very quiet teenager, semi-well behaved at school, tried to just get on with my schoolwork. Ironically, it was in my last 2 years of junior school that there was any form of sort of showing of rebellion or anything like that, but it only lasted a couple of years. Got into high school and was fairly quiet, and the rebellious voice of alternative comedy kind of had me hooked, really, because they were sort of speaking a truth that I couldn't. And that's what I find so cathartic about it, and why I still love it now. But I just thought I'd get that out of the way, and then I'll continue. This is the first of a couple of videos I've got. Eddie Izzard, Eddie Izzard, unrepeatable. I was fortunate enough to see this at Hull City Hall as well. Cracking show, really good fun. I also got to see Glorious that he did a few years later. That's in my part of my video collection upstairs, because it's a bit of a strange shaped box. I've also got Circle and Definite Article up there, which are up there for the same reason they wouldn't go in my video tray. So, and I like to have a few comedy videos and DVDs up there, just to, if I can't sleep, I've got something to watch. I'm digressing again. Here's what it says. Eddie Izzard's one-man show comes to the Albury, lauded with the kind of praise which makes the cynical critic sit back in her seat, fold her arms and snarl, "Come on then, make me laugh." He did. So much so it began to hurt. A groundswell of hilarity that starts to grow somewhere in the pit of your stomach and gradually takes over your whole body. And another review said, if all the awards and nominations have gone to his head, Izzard's performance does not show it. When he pulls up in mid-flow, there's the same sense you get with Robin Williams sometimes, the audience racing to catch up with a man that moves too quickly for them. And the rest says, this video was recorded one night at the Albury Theatre in March 1994, when Eddie Izzard was playing a limited 7-week sold-out run of his celebrated stand-up show. Completely new show from his previous 13-week run at the Ambassadors Theatre. The year before, he played to 34,000 people and received more rave reviews than last time. Eddie has continually resisted attempts to transfer his stand-up to television because he feels that comedy should not have time constraints and should be performed to a live audience. If you want to know what his comedy is like, he was heavily influenced by Billy Connolly, Steve Martin, Richard Pryor, Monty Python and the Goons. So if you like their comedy, so does he. There's that one. And secondly, of his tapes I've got down here, it is the aforementioned, oh, my video's just fell down. This is Live at the Ambassadors, which was his first VHS release. Again, not seen it for a while, so I'll have to give these a rewatch. This is what it says. On February the 1st, 1993, Eddie Izzard took his solo show to the West End of London at the Ambassadors Theatre, expecting it to run for a month. The show finally ended 3 months later, winning unanimous public acclaim and a stack of wild reviews. Notoriously reluctant to do his act on television, Eddie Izzard Live at the Ambassadors brings Izzard's inspired, frequently improvised routines to home video for the very first time. Eddie Izzard Live at the Ambassadors is a unique and definitive record, the most talked about comedian of recent years at the peak of his sellout West End show, which earned him an Olivia Award nomination. That's that one. And finally, looking up my nose, we've got David Baddiel on the Too Much Information tour, which is another show I managed to see live as a teenager. I was 16. I saw it at Hull Truck Theatre. And I'll just read you the synopsis. The star of BBC Two's Fantasy Football League, live on stage in London, Newcastle, Cambridge and rather bizarrely Stafford, talking about everything from the Spice Girls to the ways in which people died in the 17th century. That bit is so funny, with perhaps a tiny bit about football and a tiny bit about sex. Now, this is the only one with like a sort of content advisory. It says theme, stand-up comedy, language, frequent course, sex and nudity, some strong references and violence, none. And there concludes my little collection. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry I rambled on a bit, and hopefully I'll see you soon for another video. Bye for now.